Hey guys, welcome back to Collective Perspective. It is episode 104 today. First things first, before we get into the topic, we told you last episode that Craig would go fetch his, what the heck is the name of that game? Revelations Persona on the PlayStation. We're going to find out live on the air if this glorious double-ended jewel case here is in fact complete or if it's a piece of trash.
Let's find out.
So, if you didn't watch the last episode, this game comes with a registration card inside the manual. Insert the heartbeat sound effect here.
What? Yeah, let's see. Might be missing if it's supposed to be in the manual.
We should have checked and made sure beforehand that it actually did come with one. Either Craig's a fake collector or it did never come with one, so we'll find out.
Yeah. Like I said, I bought this game many years ago before I even knew or cared about what registration cards were, so...
And now it's worthless. I'm just kidding.
Just like that, huh? Has all the information on how to send them your warranty.
The freaking website that made me think about this was there's this website that's like selling a copy, and it straight up says the registration card is still attached inside, but they don't show a picture of it.
Ugh.
Hang on, we gotta get this episode started, but you can keep looking. Welcome in. We are going to talk today about, it's gonna be a short episode for sure, but why does no one care about Japanese game collecting specifically? We know why no one cares about European game collecting, because European games just aren't real. But Japanese game collecting, truly the first print in the world of many video games, whether they were from Nintendo or PlayStation or Sega. There's a ton of stuff that came out overseas months, sometimes years before it ever released here in North America. Why is it that we as North American humans, not like me and Craig, but also me and Craig, why does no one care about this stuff? And what I mean by that is, why is it so much more affordable? I have some numbers here just for Pokemon Red. A North American copy, 4 have sold over $100,000 on Heritage, North American copies of Pokemon Red. And you've got Pokemon Sapphire, Blue, Emerald, Yellow have all sold higher than Japanese Pokemon Red. And I'm not even just talking about first prints of those games. Like, we just got like mid-print Yellows in here just selling for more than a Japanese Red version. So a 9.8 A++, October 2021, $156,000. That was a big deal. 9.4 A++, $132,000 July 2021. Obviously 2021 was crazy, but this is what we're talking about as compared to Japanese Pokemon Red. A VGA 90 Plus, $45,000 in May of 2024. There was another 90 Plus sold for $22,000. Like, it's not even comparable. That's kind of what we're here to talk about. We have some theories as to why people are more interested in North American copies. And we're not going to have like a definitive answer for you, but we do want to open up the conversation for debate here. What'd you find?
I found CIB with reg card on price charting sold listing. Let's take a gander. Maybe I am a fake collector. Where? Oh, there is a registration card. No!
Oh, I have to see it. Anyway, I'll see it later. No. That's crazy.
It's just extraordinarily hard to find, apparently, but it does exist. I found a better photo. I'll have to share it with you. But it's real. I'm a fake collector. I'm going to get rid of my copy and cry.
Yeah, just flush that bad boy down the toilet. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, there's no point in having it anymore. It's stupid. What a waste. Oh my god, Does my Persona 2 need a registration card? I'll have to find out. A rabbit hole I didn't want to go down. Alright, so why don't people care about import games? I think that the main reason is, as we talk about all the time, differentiating between, collectors and players of games. I think most people buy their games to play them on average still, not the super high-end stuff.
Absolutely.
But I think that they're going to want to get things in their native language and their native region because it's just what's familiar to them. They're not going to be nostalgic for the Japanese box art of Pokemon Red like they are the North American one. So I think that, actually caring about, like I said, the language, what you're familiar with, actually being able to play the game, I think that is a big part of it.
Yep, and I wrote that first and foremost. The vast majority of the hobby still wants to play their games, and that's what this is really about. I think more than anything, and um, it's it's not like the majority of people. It's not like even 40% of the people are buying video games to put on a shelf and not play. You know, we're just not there yet as a hobby, and that is really the biggest part of it. But I do think people have started to care. The graded game folks have started to care, specifically when it comes to Pokemon. I mean, $45,000 on a 90 plus is not something to just shrug off. That's a lot of freaking money that somebody spent on heritage auctions. So people are starting to care, but it is vastly overshadowed by the North American stuff.
And that is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, specifically when it comes to the graded game scene, I'm surprised that they don't care more about that because, if the most important thing to you is that it's first print, then it shouldn't really matter what the language is, right? At least you wouldn't think so. I mean, obviously, it's going to be more interesting and probably cooler to you to have something first print in your own region, but especially as the older games are and the further you go back, it's not like nowadays where everything comes out on the same day across all regions. That didn't happen back then. There was months and sometimes years between when you would get a game made in Japan brought to North America in the 80s, 90s especially. So I've always been more surprised that the best, most expensive selling game of all time wasn't like Mario on the Famicom opposed to Mario on the NES. You would think that if you care about first print in any way, shape, or form, you're going to care about the true first print, which is going to be the original region it released in. So, very strange to me that even a lot of graded collectors still go for ESRB.
I mean, what would you rather have?
It's situational, right? Like, if I cared about if I was somebody that was collecting graded games and I wanted to get, first print, say money wasn't an issue, then yeah, that's probably what I would go for. But, as much as I prefer to buy, earlier prints or first prints of things when it comes to older stuff, it's not a priority for me anyway. I just like to own the game. I'm interested in variants, and I care about that kind of stuff from a knowledge perspective, but in terms of owning it, it's not number one priority for me. But if I was in the position of these people spending millions of dollars on games, often hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think that would definitely be the main priority, because that's just a whole different level of money being spent and just really what you're going to add to your collection at that point.
You're saying you would want the Japanese copy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a tough call. I don't have attachment to, like you're saying, I don't have attachment to a Famicom copy of Super Mario Brothers, but it is the thing, and I think maybe on the shelf it would be cooler to have if they're both worthless. They're both worth $10, North American or Super Famicom versions. I think that I would prefer to have the original Super Famicom release. Whatever the first print is there, I think that'd be pretty sweet. But I
think the issue really comes down to familiarity. Like, you're not familiar with a Famicom box like you are an NES box. You're not familiar with the Famicom box art of Mario 1 like you are the NES box art.
Yeah.
So I think prior knowledge and attachment to what you already know does play a big factor into it mentally of why you prefer that version.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not even glued to that answer, honestly. I might flip-flop on it, but let us know in the comments what you guys would prefer to have on your shelf. I got some more points here. And since we were talking about graded, let me jump to this point. For the longest time, it's just been VGA grading imports. As far as I know, it's been a big deal recently that CGC and PSA are getting into import grading, is my understanding. So I don't think people have really been... VGA's always been around. I don't feel like people have ever been as hot on VGA as they have been on these other graded companies. I don't know. I'm obviously not super into the graded games markets, but just like being an outsider looking in, it seems like VGA has always kind of been like the, if these guys won't grade it, fine, I guess I'll send it to VGA. Is kind of like the way I've always seen it.
Which is
And
fascinating because VGA was the only option for so many years.
yeah.
So it's fascinating that they're not number one by default.
Yeah. Um, so I figured I'd throw that out there. That might have a negative connotation for just like grading imports and like having them and wanting to have them. Especially if you're someone that likes to have the consistency of one grading company. That's another thing. You have a totally different set of cases now on your shelf because they're VGA graded, a different grading scale until recently, right? I could see that being a deterrent for sure, all of that. Japanese cardboard games don't have seals. That's something I think a lot of people don't think about. When you buy a Pokemon Red on Game Boy, you are trusting VGA or you're trusting the seller on Yahoo Auctions that has never been opened. And what I mean by they don't have seals is like they literally didn't have a sticker seal, I don't think. They were literally just folded and put on store shelves. And you now, 30, 40 years later, have to look at this box from the outside and try to determine if this freaking flap has ever been folded. That's that could certainly be a deterrent for people, especially because you're not going to your local game store to purchase it and inspect the flap. Like, you're gonna have to do some serious zooming in on pictures, and to like you have to go through that whole process of buying it, importing it, having it shipped all the way over here. God knows if you're gonna like, what's the return policy gonna look like on something like that? It'd be a freaking nightmare. I could see all of that being a deterrent for people trying to get new games at the very least imported over here.
Yeah, it's very difficult because, I mean, you have to have a real good eye for basically microscopic crinkles in the folds of these games.
Yeah.
And I do believe that you can determine whether or not a game is never been opened or not. I think that there are tells, even if they are hard to see. But I think that you'll always wonder, right, if you were wrong or if someone else was wrong, because it is still extremely hard to tell. So I do think that is a good deter. And semi-related to that, even if, say, you wanted to get a nice, crispy, complete in-box Japanese game, I think a lot of this stuff is at least not, in English, well documented what came in a lot of these releases. So if you care about fully CIB, you're going to have to do a lot of research to make sure everything is there, because most of this stuff is not going to be documented anywhere online in English, possibly at all, because who knows how the Japanese game collecting scene is. I don't think any of you and I probably aren't familiar with it. I don't think most people are very familiar with it, unless you live there or are native to the language. So
That's a very, very good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it sucks just getting to know what came in North American games, because that's so undocumented. Yeah, Japanese, forget about it. I don't even know where to start. Like, I would be on Yahoo probably looking at every listing, trying to figure out what the heck came with the game. That's what I would have to do. Yeah. I will say that importing has gotten much easier, but it's usually still nothing is going to be as simple as opening literally your phone to the eBay app and hitting buy it now. You have to go on like Surugaya or Yahoo Auctions, and again, you have to get like a third party to be your proxy or whatever, and like submit money into this proxy. They're gonna pay for your game. They're gonna send it to somebody. They're gonna ship it to you. It's a freaking nightmare as someone who's like barely ever done it. Like, I hate the thought. I want so many imports. I hate the thought of doing that. Like, it's a freaking nightmare. And the shipping, is it gonna get to me? Is it gonna be the right thing when it arrives? Now you got to worry about tariffs. We talked about that last episode. I don't want to spend another 25% or whatever the heck on my freaking games. It sucks out there. It's all of that is a deterrent for everyone. I don't know. I know that you have more experience with Yahoo Auctions or whatever site you use than I do, and I don't even think it's that much.
Yeah, I've used Buy a lot in the past. I've gotten some big stuff from that actually too. A lot of like Gravity Rush merchandise and figures. I've gotten a lot of my special edition GameCubes, like the Henson Tigers, the Tales of Symphonia, the Gundam one. All of those were through Buy/Yahoo Japan auctions. So I've gotten some, either pricey or bigger items from it. And I will say I never had any issues. It was always very quick, very clean. I've always found it surprising how I feel like sometimes when you buy stuff from Japan, it shows up faster than when you buy stuff like a state or two over. Very efficient mail service. But I have not done a lot of import buying since the tariffs, admittedly. So right now, probably not the best time to get into this part of the hobby. I've bought some stuff from like Japanese retailers, but not like auction sites and things. So there could be a little bit more risk right now buying from those kind of websites, unfortunately.
I might be overselling it on how difficult it is.
Now, like when I've bought on Buy before, it's basically just like for the Yahoo Japan auctions, it's basically just eBay, but you pay for someone to basically be a third-party seller where they're like, you pay them to buy the item and then you pay an extra fee for them to get the item shipped to their warehouse and then they ship it to you. But it's never been too egregious in my opinion. Like I said, I've never once had an issue actually. So logistically, absolutely no problems. Just right now the pricing might be a little bonkers. So
well, I think that's a good I think it's good to have the two perspectives. You've got me, who's a novice, and you, who's at least had some experience with it, because I think my point of view probably shows what would make people not want to do it. Like, if I think it's a freaking nightmare, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Yeah, got to be a big deterrent.
Yeah, makes sense to be hesitant because you're basically giving another company your money to handle something for you and then hope that it shows up in one piece. So
yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense for that to make you nervous.
Not to mention, you see countless stories of like, TSA opened my package, here's my destroyed video game. There's one of them in existence. It's crazy when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, that's horrifying. God, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. I think that's all I got. Anything you want to add?
I don't think so. And, like we said, all of this is kind of irrelevant to you unless you really care about first print video games. That's kind of the basis of where the idea for this conversation came from, is if you care about first print games, why don't you care about the actual first prints, not just the first print in our native region. So if you're one of those people, please let us know. Do you focus on Japanese? Do you only focus on North American? Are we super off base on our opinions on why the Japanese version of the game should be kind of more prioritized in the eyes of people that care about that when they collect games? Let us know.
Do you only buy Australian PAL games? Let me know that too.
Shout out to the kangaroos in the comments section.
Thank you guys for listening. Go subscribe to Craig's Game Room on YouTube, link in the description below. And we'll be back in the month of July for a couple more collective perspectives.
Take care.